guys, so in today's video we'll be looking into chapter fundamental rights. Okay, fundamental rights are enshrined in the part 3 of the constitution and is described as a Magna Carta of India. Okay, so basically these are the notes, important points from Lakshmikant. So before starting this video, I always recommend reading Lakshmikant so you'll have an overall idea. Okay, fundamental rights are guaranteed by the Constitution to all persons without any discrimination. They uphold the equality of all individuals, the dignity of the individuals, the dignity of the larger public interest, and the unity of the nation. Okay, they aim at establishing a government of laws and not of men. The 44th Amendment Act removed the right to property from fundamental rights and made it a legal or constitutional right. Okay, fundamental rights are justiciable. Okay, that means allowing persons to move to courts for their enforcement if they are violated. The Parliament can curtail or repeal them, but only by a constitutional amendment act and not by an ordinary act. Moreover, this can be done without affecting the basic structure of the constitution. They can be suspended during the operation of a national emergency except rights guaranteed by which articles 20 and 21. They cannot be suspended. Okay, now Article 19. Article 19 can only be suspended when an emergency is declared on the grounds of war or external aggression, not on the grounds of armed rebellion. That is, Article 19 cannot be suspended in the case of an internal emergency. Okay. Their application on armed services can be restricted or abrogated. That means the fundamental rights can be removed in the case of armed services of people in duty or soldiers in duty. Okay, that is related to Article 33. Their application can be restricted when martial law. Martial law, as of now, there is no martial law that has been imposed in India. Martial law is actually military rule in a certain area. If there is a terrorist organization working there, in order to control that, the president can impose martial law. Okay, martial law is not clearly defined in the constitution. That is another important point to be noted. Now we are going to the articles. Article 12. Article 12, it defines state. It includes all agencies. The state includes all its agencies. Okay, according to the Supreme Court, even a private body or an agency working as an instrument of state falls within the state. Okay, if there is a objective type question is asked with this kind of option, like whether a private body working for the instrument of state, is it as an instrument of state, is it part of state? It is also a part of state. Okay, now Article 13. Article 13 defines law. It expressly provides for the doctrine of judicial review. Article 13 deals with the concept of judicial review. This power has been conferred to the Supreme Court and High Courts that can declare a law unconstitutional and invalid on the ground of contravention of any fundamental rights. Contravention means violation. When did this came into being? With the Keshavananda Bharati verdict, Supreme Court declared that a constitutional amendment can be challenged on the ground that it violates fundamental rights and basic structure doctrine. Okay, the concept of basic structure doctrine was founded in the Keshavananda Bharati case. Okay, now Article 14. Article 14 is a concept of equality before law. It is a British origin concept and also equal protection of laws. Okay, Article 14 is actually right to equality. So there are two concepts for this: equality before law, which is a British origin, and also there is a concept called equal protection of laws that is taken from the American Constitution. The former is a negative concept, that is, equality before law is a negative concept and equal protection of laws is a positive concept. Rule of law is regarded, another one, rule of law is regarded as Article 14 is a basic feature of the Constitution. It cannot be destroyed even when an amendment. No member of the Parliament shall be liable to any proceedings in any court in respect to anything said or any vote given by him in Parliament or any committee thereof. Okay, the Supreme Court has said that the implementation of DPSP, when DPSP is to be implemented, what happened? When Article 31 is to be imposed, what happened? Article 14 goes out. Okay, there is now concept of equality. Now, Article 15, it provides to the states not to discriminate. It actually provides to whom? The state, not to discriminate any citizen on the grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, and or place of birth. It also adds to the following basis of this, that is access to shops, public restaurants, hotels, and places of public entertainment, the use of wells, tanks, bathing huts, roads, and places of public resort maintained wholly or partly by state funds or dedicated to the use of the general public. The above said provision is applicable to both state and private individuals. This is an important point. The state is empowered to make any special provision for the advancement of socially and educationally backward citizens of SCs and STs regarding their admission to education institutions, either aided, that is government funded, or unaided by the state, except this is majority, okay, minority education institutions. Okay, the EWS was added by which amendment? 103rd Amendment Act of 2019. Now we come to Article 16. Article 16 is no citizen shall be discriminated against or be ineligible to any employment or office under the state on the grounds of only religion, race, caste, sex, descent, places of birth, or residence. The residence for work is not applicable in the cases of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. Do note this. Okay. The 76th Amendment Act of 1994 has placed Tamil Nadu, the Reservations Act of 1994, in the 9th schedule to protect it from judicial review, as it provided for 69% of reservation, far exceeding the 50% ceiling. Actually, the reservation should not exceed more than 50%, but in Tamil Nadu, the reservation is 69% of the total population. Why? Because the number of lower caste or number of reserved category people, the people who are available for reservation is higher than the general category people. So that is why 69% is given. Now Article 17, untouchability has not, it talks about untouchability. Okay, discrimination, article against untouchability. So untouchability, it's not defined in the constitution. It is available against private individuals, and it is in the constitutional obligation of the state to take necessary action to ensure that this right is not violated. Now Article 18. Article 18, it abolishes titles. It prohibits citizens of India from accepting a title from any foreign state. Titles within the meaning of Article 18 only prohibits hereditary titles like Rajas, Maharajas, all these kinds of titles are prohibited. While Padma Shri, Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushan, that kind of titles are fine. Okay. Article 19. Article 19 is 6 rights under, that is right to freedom. There are 6 rights under the right to freedom. These 6 rights are protected against state action and not private individuals. So Article 19 basically deals with action against state action. Okay. This right is available only to the citizens and to the shareholders of a company. It is not applicable to foreigners or legal persons like companies or corporations, etc. Okay, this kind of right against freedom is not given to who? The foreigners or legal persons like companies or corporations, etc. Okay, freedom to assemble is exercised only on public grounds. An assembly must be peaceful and unarmed. Freedom of association not only includes the right to start an association or union, but also to continue with association of or union as such. Supreme Court has held that trade unions have no guaranteed right to effective bargaining or right to strike or right to declare a lockout. The right to strike can be controlled by an appropriate industrial bill. So right to strike is not a fundamental right. This is very important point. No objection can be made if state carries a trade or business as a monopoly. The state is not required to justify its monopoly. Suppose in the telecom sector, finally one day government comes up with a scheme that we are going to control the telecom sector. Nobody can object it. Okay, that is the power of state. Now Article 20, the protection against arbitrary or excessive punishment to an accused person, whether citizen or foreigner or legal. It is applicable to citizen, foreigner or legal person like a company or a corporation. This limitation is imposed by only on criminal laws and not on civil or tax laws. Okay, the protection under this limitation cannot be claimed in the case of preventive detention or demanding security from a person. In the case of UAPA and all, you cannot demand Article 20. It's an important point. Now Article 21. Article 21 is applicable to both foreigners and citizens. It is available against arbitrary executive action and not against legislative action. This means that the state can deprive the right to life and liberty of a person based on law. So, and this cannot be challenged. While this can be challenged, but not as a fundamental right. While it is the Article 21 actually deals with executive action, that is actions by the police, by the armed forces. We can go for the violation against Article 21. While if there is a law that is passed, then it is not a violation of Article 21. Okay, Article 21A. Article 21A, it deals with the right to education. It makes elementary education a fundamental right and not higher or for professional education. Which is made as a fundamental right? Elementary education. Until he completes the age of 14. Now Article 22. Punitive detention is to punish a person or an offence committed by him after trial and conviction in a court. Preventive detention means detention without trial or conviction. A person can be detained usually for a 3-month period. Not always the case according to the recommendations of the advisory. It can change. The first part is that the procedure for arrest is followed only in the case of criminal or quasi-criminal nature or some activity prejudicial to public interest. Parliament has an exclusive right to make detention laws regarding defence, foreign affairs and security of India. Both Parliament and state legislatures can concurrently make a law of preventive detention for reasons connected with the security of a state, maintenance of public order and maintenance of supplies and services essential to the community. Article 23. Article 23 is right against exploitation. The term begar means compulsory work without remuneration. Okay, that kind of exploitation is violative of Article 23. Article 24. Prohibition of employment of children in factories, that is below the age of 14 years. This does not prohibit employment in any harmless or innocent work. Article 25. Freedom of conscience and free profession, practice and propagation of religion. It does not include forcible conversions. So, forcible conversions is not included in Article 25. Okay, Article 26. Freedom to manage religious affairs. Okay, and it also held that Ramakrishna Mission and Ananda Marga are religious denominations, while Aurobindo Society is not a religious denomination. Article 27. The freedom from tax for promotion of a particular religion. This provision only prevents levy of tax, but it is not a prevention against what? Fees. Suppose you are buying prasad from temples and all, you need to be, you can pay a fee or something like that. Okay, but it is not considered as a tax. Okay. Article 28. No religious instruction shall be given to institutions run wholly by state funds. Now, Article 29, it defines minorities as those having a distinct language, script or culture of its own and shall have the right to conserve the same. They can preserve their religion, their script, culture, distinct language and all. Okay. Article 30. Protection under Article 30 also include the right of a minority to impart education to its children in its own language. Important point. Okay. Article 32, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar called Article 32 as the most important part of the Constitution. An article without which this Constitution would be a nullity, that is, will be zero, a big zero. Supreme Court has ruled Article 32 as a basic feature of the Constitution. President can suspend the right to move to any court. Article 32 basically deals with when the fundamental rights are violated, you can directly go to the Supreme Court. Okay, now President can suspend the right to move to any court for the enforcement of the fundamental rights during a national emergency. That is Article 359. Article 32 cannot be invoked simply to determine the constitutionality of an executive order or legislation unless it directly infringes any of the fundamental rights. Okay, Supreme Court has ruled that where relief through High Court is available under Article 226, aggrieved party should move to the High Court first. Okay, now we come to writs, another important topic. Writs is actually, there are writs like habeas corpus, mandamus, prohibition, certiorari and quo warranto. Now we will look into it in detail. Now before that, Parliament can empower any other court to issue writs. Important point to be noted. Supreme Court can issue writs only for the enforcement of fundamental rights, whereas High Court can issue writs not only for enforcement of fundamental rights but also for any other purpose. Very important. Okay, but where is the limitation coming for High Court? Territorial jurisdiction of the Supreme Court for the purpose of issuing writs is wider than that of the High Court. Article 32 does not merely confer power to the Supreme Court, that is Supreme Court, as Article 226 does on a High Court, to issue writs for the enforcement of fundamental rights or other rights are part of the general jurisdiction. The Supreme Court thus is constituted as a defender or guarantor of the fundamental rights. Now we look into each writ in detail. Habeas corpus. Habeas corpus can be issued for both public as well as private individuals. What does it mean? It means bring the body of. That means to find the person. Mandamus. Mandamus means we command. It cannot be issued against a private individual or body to possess departmental instruction that does not possess statutory force. Prohibition, another writ, literally means to forbid. It is issued by a higher court to a lower court or tribunal for what? To prevent the latter from exceeding its jurisdiction, that does not possess. Now we come to certiorari. Certiorari, okay, means to be certified or to be informed. It is issued by a higher court to a lower court or tribunal either to transfer a case pending with the latter to itself or to squash the order of the latter in a case. Now another one, quo warranto. Quo warranto means by what authority or warrant. Okay, court inquired to the legality of the claim of a person in a public office. Okay, this writ can be issued only in the case of substantive public office of a permanent character created by a statute or by constitution. It cannot be issued in cases of ministerial office or private office. This point is very important. It cannot be used against ministerial office or private office. Now Article 33. Article 33, it empowers the Parliament to restrict or abrogate the fundamental rights of the members of the armed forces, paramilitary forces, police forces, intelligence agencies and analogous forces. Okay. Article 34, it provides restrictions on fundamental rights while martial law is in force in any area within the territory of India. It empowers the Parliament to indemnify. Indemnify means basically to prevent loss or prevent financial loss. Okay, financial loss is financial indemnity, that kind of point. Okay, of any government servant or any other person for any act done by him in connection with the maintenance or restoration in order of order in an area under martial law. Martial law is basically when there is a conflict or a unrest in a particular territory and the armed forces is called to action in that area. Suppose they are forced to kill some people, but they cannot be what they cannot be challenged in a court. That is indemnify any government servant means. Okay, the act of indemnity made by the parliament cannot be challenged in any court on the ground of contravention of any of the fundamental rights. Martial law is borrowed from English common law and it is not defined anywhere in the constitution. The Supreme Court held that the declaration of martial law does not ipso facto by the fact itself result in the suspension of the writ of habeas corpus. Even in martial law, habeas corpus is applicable. Another important point. Now, right to property. It protects the individuals from executive action, not from legislative action. In case of violation of agreed, person can move to High Court, not Supreme Court. Now, Article 31A. Article 31A, this article does not immunize a state law from judicial review unless it has been reserved for the President's consideration and has received his assent. This article also provides for the payment of compensation of market value when state acquires a land held by a person under his personal cultivation or land within the statutory ceiling. The land is under we say a minority institution. If the land belongs to a minority or if it is under personal cultivation, a market value should be given for that land. Now, Article 32B. The L.R. Coelho case held that judicial review is a basic feature of the Constitution and it cannot be taken away by putting a law under 9th schedule. Okay, it held that the laws placed on 9th schedule after April 24th, 1973 are open to challenge in court if they violated fundamental rights guaranteed under the articles of 14, 15, 19, 21 or the basic structure of the Constitution. Okay, now Article 31C, it seeks to implement the DPSPs specified in Article 39. We have discussed DPSPs before and also we have discussed about the implementation of DPSPs. When Article 31C comes into being, Article 14 goes away. Okay, keep that noted. Now, rights outside Part 3. Rights outside Part 3. No tax shall be levied or collected except by the authority of law. No person shall be deprived of his property save by authority of law. Trade, commerce and intercourse throughout the territory of India shall be free. In the case of violation of the above rights, the aggrieved person cannot avail constitutional remedy. He has to move to the High Court by an ordinary suit under Article 226. So, that's it for the chapter of fundamental rights. I hope you guys were able to understand the fundamental rights. Before anyway starting this video, you need to read the complete chapter of fundamental rights from Lakshmikant. And after reading, if you will look into the video sessions, it will be much better and it will help you to understand the concept even more. So, I hope today's lecture was productive for you guys. Until next time we meet again, God bless you all. Jai Hind.